Hey, what's up, guys? I thought I would hop in and have a conversation with you about something that I was just reading about in the Wall Street Journal. Um, According to the Wall Street Journal, we have this weird thing going on with the economy. This weird thing where there are millions of job openings, but millions of people do not want to go back to work. Millions of people have said, no, thank you. I do not want that job. I'm out. And I'm going to break down some of this and explain to you what's going on. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt, hit the thumbs up button. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. And I want to say hello to everybody who comes to the Black Financial Channel because we keep everything 100% black over here. We don't believe white people are the ultimate gurus. We are the ultimate gurus. We are the original man. We are the original woman. And happy Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day to all the mamas out there. And I want to just acknowledge a few of you real quick, as many as I can. Amber Bentley, Francis Johnson, Jackson Harlem, Blair Cofield, Harry Millington, LaRonda Jordan, Sun Ray. I see all of y'all are B1. If you agree that black people come first, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. That's your hashtag B1. Use that in conversations. Put that in the chat. Also, if you believe our community matters the most, if you love black people, if you want to put our priorities above anything and everything else, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. And that's really important because sometimes we are such wonderful giving people that we want to go save everybody else except ourselves, and I just don't believe that. I believe we need to fix our own problems. And I believe if we put our energy on that, then we can't solve our own problems. So I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. I don't care if you're liberal or conservative. I don't care if you're gay or straight, feminist or non-feminist, educated, uneducated, rich or poor. As long as you're black first, that's the key. We got to be black first. All right. So here's the deal. So I was reading this story in the Wall Street Journal today that I thought I just got a kick out of it, and I thought I would share it with you guys. Basically, they were explaining that right now they have a big problem with the economy, and the big problem with the economy that they had, at the start of the pandemic was, oh my God, the economy's falling apart. Oh Lord Jesus, what are we going to do? Everybody's losing their job. That was the old problem, right? And so they dove in. They put a bunch of stimulus in the economy. They took all these measures to try to make things better. Some worked, some didn't. And now they have a new problem. A year later, we have a new problem. The new problem, according to the Wall Street Journal, is that you have millions of companies that are dying to hire people, millions of companies that are looking for workers, but there are millions of people who do not want to work. They literally are like, no, thank you. I will pass on that job. And I thought this was an interesting conversation because, I'm going to sort of tell you what some of the numbers are saying, what the statistical facts are saying, but then I'm going to put on my Uncle Boyce, Dr. Boyce hat and give you my perspective in terms of what I'm seeing here with this. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. Let me know if you can still hear me as I open up this article in the Wall Street Journal. Please hit the thumbs up button while you do that. Please do that. And let me know. Give me a yes in the chat. Let me know you can still hear me. All right, so basically the article, which if you want to look it up, you can. It's really interesting. It's the title is "Millions Are Unemployed. Why Can't Companies Find Workers?" And in this article, in the Wall Street Journal, written by Eric Morath, he's basically saying that with all these companies putting out all these job openings, the companies are dying to grow. Right now, you have a lot of in the economy, you have a lot of what is called pent up demand. Pent up demand, meaning people that are just dying to go shopping, people that are ready to go on vacation, people that are ready to go out and get that car or do whatever it is they want to do, things they couldn't do during the pandemic so easily. They're excited. They want to go to their favorite restaurant. I don't know. Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no if you're in that category where you're just like, man, I wish I missed the days where I could go meet up with my friends and go to a nice restaurant. I missed the day where me and my woman could go and get a good steak somewhere, or whatever, right? Give me a yes or no if you're in that category. I know Alicia and I feel that way. We're getting married this month, by the way, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. I talk about that publicly, mainly not because I'm flaunting or stunting or clout chasing. I share this with you because I want you guys to know that I think black love needs to be a badge of honor for us. Like we need to carry the flag on this bitch. Like seriously, like for black women, I think real men in the community have to carry the flag for black women, for the quality women. I'm not talking about the hoes. I'm not talking about the skanks. I'm not talking about the liars. I'm not talking about the deceptive ones. I'm not talking about the ones who want to attack black men at every available turn. I'm talking about the quality women who really have our back. Like, give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. I do differentiate. I do, I can't be too anti-discrimination because I discriminate up in this bitch. I do. I'm sorry. I discriminate. Not every woman is a queen. I don't call every woman a queen. You got to earn that. Not every man is a king. Some of y'all men ain't acting like kings. You know what I'm talking about? Some of y'all ain't acting like kings. Some of y'all acting like jokers, acting like the court jester. How you gonna be you can't be the king if you always the clown. So if you're the black man who don't show up for his kids, then you ain't the king. You're the clown. If you're a black man out here just just passing diseases and impregnating women and not handling your responsibility, you're not the king. You're the clown. If you're not coming through for your mama and them and your daddy or whoever else, your cousin them when they need you, like if you're not the man of the family standing up and fighting every day, then you're not the king. You're the clown. So I'm talking to the kings. I'm not talking to the clowns. I'm talking to the queens. I'm not talking to the what are the concubines, right? or the secondary women. I'm talking about to the quality women, kings and queens, people that want to be better. You ain't got to be the best. You ain't got to be perfect. It's just a matter of trying to do better, right? So I carry the flag for Black love, and so that's why I talk about my wedding in public, and it's hard. It's not easy, right? Because you have people that say stupid stuff or whatever, and no, you just simping. Why am I saying I'm simping? Because I've expressed public affection for a Black woman. What the fuck kind of horrible person are you? So anyway, y'all got me going on this rant, on this tangent, but I talk about Black love and relationships because I believe that is essential. That loving the Black woman is essential for us to build this community, but also loving the Black man. Ladies, maybe you got to go learn to love a Black man. Maybe you need to go talk to some Black men. Maybe you need to go read a book, right? Seriously, respecting the Black man. If I bust my ass to be the king, then please just respect me as a king. You can be the queen. We can respect each other. But seriously, like all that disrespect and all that chaos and all that low level behavior from women is not acceptable. So I say this all publicly because it's like, no, I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to be about it. I'm going to tell y'all about it. Right. So let's carry the flag on that shit. Let's move forward. All right. Sorry about that. I had to do that tangent. Please forgive me. So with that being said, here's the deal with the economy. Let's talk about economics again. Even though Black love and economics are deeply connected, most wealth is family wealth. Never forget that. It's hard to build wealth by yourself. It's easier to build wealth when you have a teammate. My wife and I are teammates. My family and I are teammates, right? So teammates build wealth much easier than individuals. But with that being said, right now, what's fascinating is that they can't get people to go to work. Like all these companies have all these jobs available, and so many people don't want it. And basically what they're tying it to is a couple of things, a couple of concrete observations that they've made in the Wall Street Journal article I mentioned to you that I do agree with. One is they said that even though a lot of people are being vaccinated, there are a lot of people that are still scared of getting sick. They're scared of getting a virus that they go out into public, etc. Number two, the schools are opening slower than the businesses. So if you call somebody and say, hey, we have a job for you, but they say, look, I got kids at home, I don't have daycare, well, then they can't go to work if they don't have daycare. And the third component they threw in there was, the unemployment benefits. I'm not even mad about this. I don't care about this. I mean, but basically, some of y'all have seen this. There are some people who are making um, more money on unemployment than they were getting on their job, right? Now, to me, I'm not the person who says, "Oh, that's unbelievable, that's ridiculous," because I see people work the system all the time. I see rich people working the system all the time. I see rich people who are pretty much just highly educated welfare recipients, right? Welfare is kind of everywhere. Even when I was in academia, they had this thing called tenure, which basically means that if you get that promotion, you always have a job, no matter how stupid you are, no matter how irresponsible you are, no matter how terrible of a person you are, you keep that job for life. Well, I said, oh, I get it. That's just welfare for smart people, right? That's so the thing is that welfare, that people able to work the system to their benefit exists at all levels of society. Most of the welfare that goes out in America is corporate welfare. It is, these interesting tax breaks where you can go spend the same dollar as a business owner that a regular person spends. So as a business owner, you spend $1, you get 30 or 40 cents of that dollar back. A regular person spends $1, they lose a whole dollar. Right. That's why I tell you guys to understand the game. You got to learn the game. Like get that family business going. Sit down, learn from somebody. Right. Get the family business. Get that stock investment portfolio going, because the country is heavily biased in favor of rich people, but they blame their problems on poor people. right? They're biased toward rich people, but they blame their problems on poor people. Rich people love to be powerful until it's time to take responsibility. But then suddenly it's like, oh, it's because all these poor people are taking up. No, 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 no. If rich people were to pay, if they made all the millionaires pay an extra 2 or 3% in taxes, do you have no idea how much that would do to reduce the deficit? Now, Jennifer, you make a good point. You said tenure requires that you have excelled in your discipline. That's 100% true. That's 100% true. Absolutely. In academia, I was the only black person in the country to get a PhD in finance during the year 2002. And I'm proud of that. It was awesome. I'm not proud of it. I wish there were more people there with me, but I was proud I made it through that system. And you're right. You do have to work your butt off. But the thing is that we aren't the only people in society who work their butts off. I haven't seen anybody work their butt off harder than a lot of the single mothers out here. Most of y'all, give me a yes or no if you have a mama who literally damn near worked herself into a grave trying to take care of you, make $1 out of 15 cents, holding it down, in all different kinds of ways, being there for everybody, not just the children, but being there for the man, being there for the pastor, being there for the community, being there for her sister's kids, when her sister's on crack. I'm talking about, like a lot of y'all have these sorts of you know experiences, right? So why isn't there like a tenure for mothers? Like I think motherhood is a hard ass job. Don't get me wrong. Now, real fatherhood is also a job that's extremely important. I don't put our job as equal to the mother, because the mother is the first person who interacts with the child when they're born. But the number two person on that list should be the father. And we know black fathers matter. They matter very much. No matter what people tell you, a child that doesn't have a father is disadvantaged, and it's very hard to fill that void. Fathers can't be replaced. So being a good father is hard, especially when you're a black man, when you're out here, in the world where they wanted you dead before you were born. They don't give you the same opportunities. You go apply for the same jobs. You get fired on your day off, like Pookie or whatever his name was not Pookie. Pookie was New Jack City, but Smokey was on Friday, right? He got fired on his day off. Well, a lot of black men go through that. Even when you do the right things, it can be difficult, right? So I think at the end of the day, there are lots of hardworking people in our society, and I don't think we acknowledge them all equally, right? So with that said, do me a favor, if you could take a second, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Please do that. We're building black media. We need your help. Also, if you want to learn how to get started investing in the stock market, I have a free training that's about 11 minutes that will break it down for you and literally teach you everything you need to know for the rest of your life to be a consistent investor. Just go to firstshareofstock.com. That's firstsharestock.com. I'll also send you a lot of free information from the Black Business School. We're wide open to the community, so you can jump in there for free. Don't think you have to spend any money. We have things we offer you, but you don't have to buy anything. We love you no matter what. Okay, so there's a URL on the screen. Now, with that said, with this interesting thing, so there are three key reasons why companies can't get workers. One is because people are still scared of the virus. Two is because there's not enough childcare and the jobs are opening up, but the schools are not. And then three is unemployment benefits have gotten really good. So a lot of the unemployment is, keeping people at home. Now, ZD Tobe, you made a good point. You said the employment's going to run out. So what about then? I think that is a good point. And here's the deal. Unemployment is going to run out soon. So they're probably not going to renew those extraordinary benefits, obviously, because the economy is doing extremely well right now. In fact, the biggest risk for the economy now is that it's going to overheat. So that will end. And when that ends, yes, you're right. People will be forced to go back to work. The second piece is that they will eventually open the schools and the daycares so that people can go back to work. Now, the third piece that's really interesting about people being afraid of the virus, I don't know how soon that's going to go away. I think that there are two. It's like sometimes when you get sick, how they say with the virus, like you have the short-term effect and then you have the long-term effect. Like you might get sick and then get better, but then you have a long-term implication of a short-term illness or short-term shock to your system. I think two things that may not go away are, one, I think that we have, because the media has worked so hard to scare the living shit out of people, like because they have worked overtime to scare you to death, not because they care about you, not because they want to keep you safe, but because they wanted to win an election. They made the virus political, and that was the thing I had a big issue with. Was they politicized it so that I could tell what political party you were in based on what you believed about the virus. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of weird. Like, how is it that I can tell just by what you say about the virus or the vaccine? I can tell whether you're a Democrat or Republican. I shouldn't be able to do that. I shouldn't be able to tell your political party based on how you respond to this common health threat that exists in our society, right? So what you saw was you saw people going to extremes. On one extreme, you had the people that damn near, that damn near act like everybody was gonna die. Like, oh Lord Jesus, if you leave your house, everybody gonna die, and it's coming after black people only black people, and there ain't nothing we could do about it. Ain't nothing, well, and they weren't presenting any other solutions, right? They weren't talking about health. They never want to talk about keeping black people healthy. They never want to talk about ways to strengthen your immune system. They don't want to talk about, about the fact that they reward you and incentivize you to consume as much Popeye's chicken as possible. They don't want to talk about none of that. They don't want to talk about preventative health issues, none of that. All they want to talk about is, well, if you get your government shot, then you just gonna be okay. No, you're not. You goddamn slave. You're not going to be okay just by getting a government shot. If you are 350 pounds and you have a mouthful of cheeseburgers and chicken every single day and not doing anything to help yourself long term. Seriously, when you're walking around celebrating obesity and celebrating unhealthy lifestyles, and you think one shot is going to fix all of that, then unfortunately you've been brainwashed. You've been made into like a weird little slave that's sort of following along with this protocol, right? So I'm not saying that the shot is good or bad. I'm not telling you what to do about shots. I'm not telling you what to believe about viruses. I'm just telling you that they're playing with your head when they tell you that there's a solution over there, but all the other eight things that a Dr. Sebi would tell you to do are completely irrelevant. That they want you to ignore all the black health experts that are in the community saying, hey, if you eat more of this and less of that, then you're going to live longer. Hey, maybe we should all work out a little bit more. Hey, maybe we should all do these things to reduce our blood pressure and all these other things. No, they ignore all of that. It all gets replaced with, the Democratic Party is going to give you a government shot and that's going to make you better. Well, that's just crazy, right? And the way they got you to this point was by scaring the hell out of you, making you believe that you're going to die if you don't do what they say. If you don't follow our lead, then you and your family will be dead. And I just am in the position of, kind of where I think M. Tracy, you're making a good point. She says there's been viruses all the time and there was never a shot. Why now? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my sister's a medical doctor and she said some things to me that made me really do my research in terms of deciding what I wanted to do. I'm not even going to really talk about what I did anymore because I don't want that to influence what you do, because I don't judge you based on what you do. I'm really trying to challenge you to understand the bigger picture on all of this, right? So scaring the hell out of you was part of the agenda. That was part of the plan. If I scare you, I can get you to vote. I can get you to do what I want you to do, period. No differently from a man who scares a woman into submitting to him sexually. It's exactly the same thing. They basically raped your mind. They basically violated you by scaring the hell out of you to the point where you went along with what they said without asking any questions. Hey, why should I vote for this candidate? Shut up and vote, or bad things are going to happen to you. Why should I take this government shot? Shut up and take the shot, or bad things are going to happen to you. Why should I go buy this product? Shut up and buy it, or bad things are going to happen to you. I don't believe that that's the best way for you to operate, especially if you're black. So that scaring people into chaos, like, that's not going to go away. There are permanent germaphobes that are going to be here. There's still going to be germaphobes 10 years from now, no matter what, because there's always going to be a germ out there to scare you. There's a billion different viruses out there. I don't know what the exact number is, but there's so many viruses. It's ridiculous. They'll always find, if they're looking for a new boogeyman, they can always find it. If they can use a boogeyman that literally only takes out 0.5% of the population. Imagine if they actually get something big. Imagine if they get something that takes out, I don't know, 2% of the population, 1 out of every 50 people. So even though 49 out of 50 of you would survive, the all 50 of you will be terrorized by the 1 out of 50, right? That's how terrorism works. Terrorism is a scare tactic designed to do a little bit of damage to make everyone else feel the emotional effect of the little bit of damage that was done. It's like a symbolic kind of thing, right? So the second piece of that is, in terms of why people aren't going to work, is I think that this is a good thing though. I think that people are starting to realize something that I've actually been talking to you guys about this for a very long time. They're realizing, I think, that there's more to life than sitting on the corporate plantation and sacrificing your life for master until the day you die. I think that people have sort of realized, like, hey, wait a minute, it's really actually not so bad to be at home. Tell me yes or no. How many of you have had like life-changing revelations during the pandemic? How many of you have just been sitting by yourself, realizing that you had more time to think than you've had in years? More time to spend with loved ones than you've had in the longest time, and have been like, dang, I could do this for a while. Like this is all right. Like I like I think I want to be something other than what I was droned into becoming over all these years through this constant repetition of this sort of false belief in this corporate God. And I would say a white supremacist corporate God, right? When they talk about white supremacy and they talk about white supremacy in the Capitol attacks, I didn't really care about that. I was like, yeah, that was just a bunch of Republicans who was mad because their guy didn't win the election. I don't see why there was black people in the damn crowd. Come on, man, give me a break, over that. But when you talk about white supremacy, it is in the building. To me, part of the white supremacy is this idea that you've been sort of led to believe since birth that your only sole purpose in life is to literally dedicate your life, that dedicate about 70% of your waking hours on this earth. Your life is precious, right? You're dedicating 70% of the most precious thing you have, which is your life, to serving a corporation. Like, think about that. I mean, that is the ultimate mind fuck. Like, they have to really work with you mentally to get you to the point where I'll be on in a minute, to get you to the point where you are willing to sacrifice your life to spend more time with your boss than you spend with your kids, right? Like that's heavy. Like that's really heavy if you really think about that, right? I know that we get used to kind of being upset maybe because we're getting paid 50,000 a year and we should be making 65. That's really the that's actually the most minor way that you're being screwed. You're really being screwed because all those thousands of hours that you could have spent with your family is being taken away, and you're giving those hours to this big racist corporation that doesn't give a shit about you, right? They care nothing about you. They don't care if you live or die. They care, all they care about is that you show up every day and that you're productive so that they can meet their quarterly numbers, right? So this is really a statement not so much just about race, but this is a statement about the pitfalls of capitalism. And what's happening now is that, and this is honestly something I think the liberals really plan to do this. Like, these people are strategic. They're into social engineering. They engineer language. They try to reshape the thinking of institutions. If you go, your kids are probably going to school learning more about pronouns of somebody's gender than they're learning the things that they need to know. Think about this, right? They'll produce 10 million kids every year that can't read or can't write, can't do math. But all the kids will know what gender to use whenever a boy decides they want to be a girl, right? And this is not anti-pronoun. I'm just saying that this shows you what they're doing. That what they do is they manipulate institutions to shape your thinking in a specific way. So and what happens is, for black people, Malcolm talks about this, is that you are a pawn. You get pawned and pulled in one direction or the other. So you have one group of people, the hardcore capitalists, the wealthy people, who have basically trained you to honor the corporation, right? They've gotten you to believe, for example, if you are a woman and and you're worth a nickel, then you shouldn't be home with your kids. You're supposed to be at a factory, at a job, right? They do this in a lot of countries. More specifically in Japan, they do this. Now Japan has a problem. They can't reproduce. The women don't want to do what they might naturally want to do, like have children and love their kids. They want to go work. They want to go work at the corporation. So they're literally killing their entire family legacy, and all that lineage, all the children, grandchildren, great grandchildren will never exist because you want to get a damn job. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with getting a job, but I don't think a job is worth your entire legacy, right? And but that's what's happened in Japan, right? So in the United States, things like feminism have been manipulated to create productivity in the workplace, right? If you're a real woman, then you don't want to be home with your kids. That's what those lame women do. No, you want to be out here doing what men do. You want to be out here, working yourself into an early grave and obsessed over your career, so that when you're 50 years old, you're going to look back and realize that it wasn't worth anything because you sat there and watched all your friends go out and actually live a more balanced life. Right. So that was the first, that was one type of brainwashing that actually led to massive industrialization in the United States. That's one of the things that made the United States into one of the most productive countries in the world. So the liberals are kind of on the other side of that, right? The liberals, they have a different kind of brainwashing that's built around social stuff. Like okay, we want everybody to think it's normal to to have two daddies or whatever, right? Like that's just as common as having a mommy and a daddy, right? Which I don't agree with that. I don't think that I'm not against it. I'm just saying that that's not like you can't have two daddies can't make a baby, and that's just not the family tradition that I'm used to, right? But they're into stuff like that. So what they do is they change language. They like to use rhetoric, like I think that like every year they'll make up terms like hetero superiority, or they'll call you a homophobe if you just simply say, I don't agree with whatever or whatever. I'm not comfortable with that, right? And you're not like the terms don't even make sense, right? You're like, wait a minute, a phobia is a fear. I'm not scared of you. I just don't agree with you. Like me disagreeing with you doesn't mean I'm scared of you. Like, what are you talking about, right? But and the reason they can't explain that is because they just make things up, right? And then there's a lot of propaganda there. Like you saw some of this actually when Ice Cube challenged Joe Biden. They deliberately went out of their way to create propaganda about Ice Cube to ensure that Black people were never presented with anyone in the community that actually provided a real and substantive solution. So you saw on SNL, they just committed a bold, outright lie. They pretended like Ice Cube was a MAGA hat wearing Trump supporter who only wanted to who wanted to support Trump because of taxes. Ice Cube repeatedly stated, "I'm not a Trump supporter." He has a song called "Arrest the President." I don't know if y'all ever heard it. Give me a yes or no if you heard it. Ice Cube has a song called "Arrest the President," and he was talking about Trump. He wasn't even talking about Biden. He was nice to Biden. He was friendly with Biden, right? So this propaganda is used so that their control of the media is used for this. Also, what they do is they manipulate institutions like public schools and universities so that you send your child away to college and they come back and they have all these ideas that were planted into their head from the liberal establishment, because the liberal establishment has a lot of influence in universities and they do a lot of work with the propaganda to isolate those who don't agree with them. So that's why you'll see that they don't just say, "Oh, I disagree with you." They'll start attacking you and they'll start labeling you. "Oh, you don't agree with me, so you must be a homophobe." Or you don't agree with the Me Too movement, so you must be a sexist, right? So that's the strategy that's used. And so this sort of weird brainwashing, you saw this kind of happening in a very strategic way during the pandemic. The pandemic, Rahm Emanuel, who used to work with Obama, used to say, "Never waste a good crisis." And so basically, in the crisis, they said, okay, this is our opportunity to push forward with our agenda. The first agenda was obviously to, get their party into power, which they did, right? They got Trump out. They're like, okay, let's ruin the world and then have everybody blame Trump for it so we can get him out of office. They did that. But then also, as a result of that, they had to scare the hell out of you. And then what happened, though, is they did the one thing they did that I think is good is they got you to step back and achieve actually what I've always had as my agenda, which is to help you to kind of go back to what I think for Black people who are intelligent to realize, or to at least consider what I call the Black Core of Three. The Black Core of Three for Black Power, in my view, is this. Pay attention. I want you to listen now. It is, I believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black business, right? Where did I get that from? Educate our own children, create our own jobs, support Black business. Educate our own children, get them out of the school system so you can teach them what they need to know. Your children go to school, they're learning all these things about white people, they're learning nothing about Black people. They don't even know anything about Marcus Garvey. They don't know the real story about slavery that Dr. Claude Anderson can tell. Dr. Claude Anderson, every day, if you read Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth or the Black History Reader, he breaks down slavery and he breaks down Black American history in a way that no white person ever will or ever could, right? And so it's not really anti them, it's really pro you, right? It's really to say you should be educating your kids anyway. So when the kids got taken out of school, I said, this is great. I've been telling Black folks to homeschool their kids for years. Nobody would listen because they were so committed and addicted to the corporate plantation, right? But now it's like, well, dang, now I can't send my child to a public school anymore. I have to find some way to interact with them and to teach them. And I'm encouraging you to use this as an opportunity to teach your kids the things they need to know, right? A lot of educated black people are absolute liabilities because they've been fully indoctrinated into either the conservative establishment or the liberal establishment. They are not black first. They are Republican first, or they are Democrat first, right? So the black folks running up behind Donald Trump with a MAGA hat on, they're not really a huge benefit to the black community, because the only way they have a license to do anything for black folks is if Trump or if the Republicans say it's okay. The same thing is true with the Democrats. People like Stacey Abrams and Raphael Warnock and all that, those individuals, they work for the Democratic Party, right? There's no solution I've seen come out of their mouths that in any way is going to lead to significant advancement for the black community, largely because if you look at things like, for example, Black Lives Matter's list of demands, they're all based on Democratic, white liberal based ideologies that are heavily focused on social integration, right? And like Dr. Claude Anderson explains, you know, we don't need to socialize with white people. I'm not trying to socialize with you. I don't want social integration. We've had that. You know, the slaves socialized with the plantation owners. They had a little shack in the back of the back of Master's mansion. They talk to the slave owners every day. I don't need to socialize with you. I don't want you to integrate socially. I need you to integrate that money. Integrate me where the money reside. I don't need to be your friend. I got friends. Friends ain't. I don't need no more friends. I want that money. So if you can't talk about the resources, if you ain't offering, millions of acres of land, if you're not offering billions of dollars in money with no strings attached, then don't even come talk to me. I don't want to hear you tell me that you're going to be my friend. I don't even know if I want you as my friend. What benefit do I get from you being my buddy? Give me the goddamn money, and then we can be friends after that. How about that? How about you give me the money, and then I'll be your friend? Right? So I would just say that when you're talking about what happened during this pandemic, and again, we're B1, right? This is a Black First platform, so we're going to talk about the Black perspective on this story. It's a national story, right? But I think for Black people, this is your opportunity. This is your chance to escape, because again, when you go back to the Black Core of Three, Black people should educate our own children. Write this down. Please write this down. If you believe in anything that I say on this platform, write this down. I want you to keep this in mind. If we do these three things, then we will win. If we do these three things, then we will win. If we do these three things, then we will win. Educate our own children. Stop paying white people to educate your kids because they're miseducating them. Even the most educated of you, many of you were miseducated. I am highly educated by white people, and I learned a few things. Don't get me wrong, but I was severely miseducated, and I had to go outside of that system to get an education on what it really means to be an asset to my community. Because up until that point, I was highly educated and highly prepared to go work for white people. I was at Syracuse University writing research papers for white-owned academic journals that nobody's ever going to read, teaching a bunch of white and Jewish and Asian students how to go to Wall Street and make $1 billion. I was not in any significant way connected to the Black community, except for in it symbolically, meaning that there were Black people who felt that because white people had accepted me, because I had socially integrated, because I was working at a white institution and I had this important position, that somehow I was a successful Black person, when really I wasn't successful at all. So that's part of the game. They teach you that the successful people are really the unsuccessful people, and that the unsuccessful people are your greatest heroes, right? So you end up following the wrong model and you get the wrong result, and then you wonder why your community isn't advancing, right? So educating our own children, by making sure that they, the first historical figure every Black child should learn about is somebody like a Marcus Garvey. There's no way on this earth. I mean, just the fact that you have children that consider themselves highly educated, they've been in school for years, and have never heard of Marcus Garvey is a very clear and glaring reflection of just how unbelievably bastardized this educational process is for Black people. The fact that didn't even spend. Think about this. You're in school, about, I don't know, let's say 8 hours a day, for 5 days a week. So let's say that your child's in school 40 hours a week, like a work day, right? But it's not quite 8 hours a day. So let's say they're in school every year about 2,000 hours a year. No, let's do 1,500 hours a year. Over a decade, they're in school for 15,000 hours. So if they're in school for a total of 12 years, that's approximately 18,000 hours. So your child has spent 18,000 hours in the educational system, 18,000 hours. And in all that time, they didn't spend 10 minutes telling them about some of the most significant, most relevant Black people in the history of this earth. How does that happen? But yet your child graduates, they know all the pronouns, but can't read, can't write, can't do math. It's unbelievable, right? So educating your own children is essential. So after this pandemic is over, you got to keep doing that. Even if you send your child back to school, you have to make sure you supplement their education with the things they need to know. They need to know reading, writing, math, so they can consume information, so they can submit information, so they can do calculations. You need to make sure they know business, stocks, real estate, entrepreneurship by any means necessary. They must know Black history, and then you may want to give them something on strategic or critical thinking so they can learn to think for themselves and think outside the box as opposed to going along with the system that's around them, right? Strategic thinking, critical thinking, not everybody can do that, right? Some of us do it better than others, but at the very least they should know how to identify the right people to follow as opposed to following the wrong people. The second piece is creating our own jobs. You have no idea how many trillions of dollars in wealth Black people give away every year just by virtue of the fact that you're working for white people. Black human capital is worth, trillions of dollars. That the fact that you have all these degrees, credentials, skills, all this labor is what America was built upon. Without your labor, they could never have built America. So Africa is going to be one of the great emerging economies of this century, mainly because they have lots of young people. Young people can provide labor. So effectively, when you are training yourselves to go to college so that you can be trained to go work for somebody, and the person you work for owns a company that's outside of your community, then you are engaging in a wealth transfer out of your community. You're literally pulling wealth out of your community that's supposed to be for your people, right? So by creating our own businesses, creating an army of entrepreneurs and investors and real estate owners and everything else, we're preparing for the future by preparing ourselves to be the ones who control the capital, the ones who control the resources, right? So ultimately, this pandemic did you a great favor. I know it might have been hard for some of you, and I empathize. My heart goes out to you. Anybody who struggled, I am not in any way minimizing the challenges of your struggle. But in some ways, I'm really happy that, or better yet, the best thing about the pandemic, if there was something good, is that for some of our people, it slapped the shit out of them and was a hell of a wake up call, where suddenly the things that they were addicted to were gone. Right, that nipple you were on, where you drop your kids off to to some white man's school where some teacher can mess them up, and then go work for another white man across town, and spend no time with your child. Your child's not getting the guidance and support and love that they need, or nor the education that they need. That was not beneficial, right? So now you're in a different space, right? Now you're kind of, this pandemic kind of accelerated some of what I'd been saying. Like, I've been working from home for years. For years, I realized when I was about 25 years old, I said, I can't work for these people. This ain't gonna work out. They're gonna fire me. They're gonna hate me. I'm too outspoken. I'm too Black. I'm too comfortable being who I am, and that's not gonna work out. So very early, I knew I had to have some sort of economic situation that allowed me to detach from what they were doing. I didn't think that I was a white boy. Right. A lot of our people think, like, a lot of our people really think they buy into the social integration nonsense to make them really believe that if you do exactly what somebody else is doing, that their people are going to treat you like you're one of their people. I don't believe that. I get it. I understand people complain about discrimination and racism and all that. That ain't never going to go away. Human beings are never going to stop discriminating. Human beings do that. If you go to China and you go into a Chinese company as an American, they are not going to treat you like you're Chinese. And you can complain, you can say, oh, you're a bad person because you're discriminating. They're going to laugh at you because they're going to be like, well, why don't you go to your people? Like, it's like if a child, imagine if one of your children's friends came into the house and said, I want to eat with y'all every day, and I want to eat what they eat, and I want to use his clothes and play with his toys, and I want you to treat me like I'm one of the kids. Well, first question you would ask is, well, don't you have any parents? Like, don't you have a place to go? Now, if he's an orphan or something, maybe you feel sorry for him and you let him stay with you if your heart's open to it, and God bless you if you are. But a lot of people, would say your own parents are supposed to be the ones who do this for you, not us. I'm not your mama. I'm not your daddy. Like, I'll be nice to you, like, if my but you're gonna eat after my children eat. I'm not gonna starve my children so that I can feed you, right? So what I'm trying to help you understand is that a lot of this stuff that they train you to complain about, like, oh, the white people won't do this for me and they won't do that for me, it makes you look very weak, and it also makes you I think it baffles other people because you look like a homeless person. Like, you look like someone who doesn't have the men and women in your community that are really holding it down for you to the point where you got somewhere to go. Right. And this is why it's so important for us, going back to what I was talking about earlier. Let's circle back around. Let's make this full circle. When I was talking to you earlier about how I have no problem bragging about the fact that I love this black woman, and she ain't the only black woman in my life that I love. I love my mama. I'm down for my mama, down for my girls. All of that is because that is where it all starts. All this roots back to black love. When you have a community, process this for a minute. Listen to me now. When you have a community where half your men are running around saying women ain't shit and fuck these hoes and all of just that's you simping, you like black, you tell you love her, you simping, right? Just that kind of weird behavior that tells the world that okay, the black woman ain't got nowhere to go. She doesn't have a home. She ain't got nobody that's gonna hold it down for her. So if she comes in, so the Chinese guy looks at her, he's like, oh, if you come in my beauty salon and you act up, I can beat your ass in front of a black man, and all this son of a bitch is gonna do is sit there and hold the cell phone. He gonna hold the cell phone and say, scream, world star, like a little punk. He gonna sit there and literally watch watch this man from another community beat her ass, and none of your men are gonna step up. Because first off, half of them want to be a woman anyway, because they've been trained on that since they were children, trained to be emasculated. And the other half are like, man, F these hoes, man, F these hoes. Seriously, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all see it on the internet every day. Your men are not protecting the village. Not all of them. I'm not talking about the real men, because there's some real men on here. I'm gonna say the men that tend to follow me tend to be solid guys. So I'm not talking about y'all, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all see this stuff, right? But the same thing I think is true for the black man. So the black man is going out into the world and he's looking for love in all the wrong places, trying to apply for jobs, working for Mr. Charlie, whatever, going through that stress of going to work every day. And then he's coming home to some women who never even learned to appreciate a man. They've hated men ever since their daddy left when she was 5 years old. So she, so she, ain't really giving him the respect he deserves, not giving him the love and the nurturing and support that he deserves, not taking care of his kids in the right way, and so really, all this stuff, this racial thing, it's really a race. Like Dr. Claude Anderson says, it's a race, it's a competition. It's one community against the other. To be honest with you, not so much to the point where people are attacking each other, but to the point where people are looking out for their own. I think the question has to become, who's looking out for black people? Like, who are your guardians? Like, who do you see in your community as the people that are just gonna have your back and put you first at all times? Who in the black community is B1? And why is it so controversial to be B1? Why is it controversial to be black first? Why is it controversial to say, you know, um, I don't believe that white liberals are going to be our guardians, right? I don't believe Uncle Joe Biden, I don't believe Uncle Joe Biden is going to be my guardian, right? I believe my guardians are people in my community that really believe in me, that love me, the black women that will die for me, the black men in the community that will have my back no matter what. Like those are your guardians, those are your solid people. And I can just tell you, I came to this conclusion after many, many years of kind of looking at the world and kind of seeing like, okay, wait, something's wrong here. How do we fix this? And I can just tell you, I differentiate very quickly between the people that I think are solid in the community, who kind of get it, and then those who are not. And I respect you. If you're solid, like, and being solid, what does that look like? Let me give you some clear examples. If you're a solid man, um, I think it means being the best man you can, coming through for your family. I had this conversation with our son yesterday. Coming through for your family. Defending and protecting at at whatever cost it takes. Doing your best, right? Just I think black women give us a lot of slack. Like if you just get up off the couch and you do your best, a good black woman will stand by you. Like she'll support you, like she'll work with you. But if you're giving up all the time or being sloppy and irresponsible and not even trying to improve yourself, I don't think that that's worthy of much respect, because the thing is that the man as the leader has to show himself to be worthy of leadership, right? He has to be kind of like a guy that's sturdy, like where people are like, okay, Uncle Billy said he's gonna do this, well, he's gonna do it. And then I think for women, in terms of hold it down, I think all of us as Black people, we probably have some trauma we got to work through, right? I think that we're trained to distrust each other. I mean, it goes all the way back to slavery. I think that we're trained to um, love the wrong things and hate the right things. Like, the things that are good for us we hate, and the things that are bad for us we love. And I think that we really are just madly in love with white people. I really do. Like, I really feel it's so weird to me. Like, I just watch and I observe how we judge ourselves and judge each other by how recognized you are by white people, especially the white establishment. Like, if a white person just says, I think this Black person's smart, we think that's a big deal. If they have you on their award shows, then you somehow think you're doing better than other Black people. If they put you on TV, and so that's why maybe it's important for us to develop institutions of our own. If you have your own institutions and your own symbols of validation, right, and status, then you can bestow that upon each other. It's like printing your own money as opposed to depending on someone else's money, right? So I'm a big fan of but Alicia and I, by the way, when we get married on the 21st, and by the way, I will share the video of the wedding ceremony for those of you that want to watch. I mean, free of charge, of course. I'm not gonna charge you no money to watch Let's Get Married, but for those of you that would like to see it, because I know I've been talking to you guys about it for a while, and we were going to do a big public wedding in Chicago before the pandemic, but that all got scrapped. So we decided to do a private ceremony. I will share the video, but I cannot share it live because I want to make sure all the guests are cool with us sharing it and all that stuff. But I will run it as a broadcast on my channel. But one of the things that we wanted to do was, instead of receiving gifts, like, we don't want any gifts, right? So if you want to give us a gift, please do not give us a gift. We actually have a website, boyceandaliciawedding.com, where actually we're asking, if you want to support us, then get something for yourself. Like, go to the Black Business School, buy something, and what we'll do is we're going to give a portion of the proceeds from what we receive, and we're putting it into a foundation, and it's the Boyce and Alicia Watkins Foundation. And our number one goal, the only purpose of this foundation, is to support Black-owned independent schools. So that means, like, we're not here to support Black people that want to go to big white universities. Like, if you want to go to Yale or Stanford, we're not going to pay for that. If you're trying to create a school that's going to take money from the government, no, we don't want to pay for that. We want to support schools like Freedom Home Academy International that are independent Black-owned schools. My boy down in Georgia, the New Emerging Kings Academy, we made a donation there. King Randall. It's what is it? The X School for Boys. That's what the X School for Boys. We gave them some money. We're going to give them some more. We want to support schools like that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to we want to basically harness all of this into support for Black-owned schools so that we can educate our own kids. Because the main thing we need in our community is we need institutions. Because if you have your own institutions, then you ain't got to go running to them to get your validation or to get your income or to get your belonging, right? You have a sense of belonging right here in your space, and we're smart enough to do this. We just need the training. We just need the type of thinking that comes with somebody who says, okay, instead of working for somebody, I'm gonna start a company. Or instead of serving somebody else's institution or foundation, I'm gonna create my own. Instead of sending my kids to this prep school, we're going to build a school, right? And we're going to get the damn school done. And we're going to get it done through teamwork, right? Teamwork is really important. This whole idea of one solo demagogue trying to go and build a school by himself, I know some of y'all are in love with that idea, but I don't think that that works. I just don't. If I can't point to several people that you're working with as your teammates, then that tells me that you're probably biting off more than you can chew. One person cannot go by himself and build an entire school or an entire business. You need a team. You need people you can delegate to. You need a board. You need a staff. You need a crew, right? So ultimately, I want to encourage you to start thinking that way so that you can achieve big things. White people achieve big things by working together. Apple Computer is a big, gigantic, multi-trillion-dollar company that is a nexus of relationships amongst thousands and thousands of people. I bet they have over 1 million employees with Apple. Steve Jobs did not build that shit by his goddamn self, right? Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, doesn't get up and say, I'm King Kong consciousness and I'm going to be the Apple computer. I'm going to build everybody's computer by myself. And like, he doesn't do that, right? He has a team of people. So get you a team, man. Get you a crew. Like, work together. Like, that's how you win, right? And working together is an art. It takes work to learn how to do that, right? So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm done talking about this. I know we start talking about the jobs thing, but y'all know me. I take it whatever direction the spirit guides me. I hope this conversation helps you. But I think overall, what you're seeing in America, to sum it up, is you're seeing a transformed economy. It's not going to go back to what it was before. This is an opportunity for you, but you got to make sure you take in the big picture and know where the tea leaves are and know how America's reshaping itself. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button. Also, the allblackagenda.com is a website you can go to where there is a copy of my $5 a day investing plan. So if you want your children to be wealthy, if you want your kids to take over in the next generation, do a $5 a day investing plan for them where you're putting at least $5 a day on average, or $35 a week, or $155 a month approximately into the stock market. And you do that consistently, put it into an S&P 500 spider fund, something like that. Set it and forget it. Don't even think about it if you don't want to. And your child, by the time they're 25, 30 years old, is going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in liquid wealth. They can then use that wealth to take the skills that you've given them to either go start a business, or at the very least go buy a home, and make some investments themselves and get out of the rat race. They will be able to succeed because they won't be in the trap. So get your kids out of the trap, but you got to start now. You got it? All right, so the URL is theallblackagenda.com. It's right there. Hit the thumbs up button, share button, subscribe button on your way out. I'm out of here. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Please have a great day. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.